I just want to do a quick DVD Blu-ray update, and just to let you know, the very next video I'm going to do, or whichever way the order these come out, it may be the video before this, there is a contest that I'm going to be doing. So make sure you check my videos. It will be posted either right before this or right after that. So just to make this quick, I'm going to jump right in with my Blu-rays first, since that seems to be the ones that are most popular. I just have a few this time. The first one to talk about is Clash of the Titans. I was a really big fan of the old style, movie, the Ray Harryhausen Clash of the Titans. And honestly, this didn't impress me as much as I thought it would. And I mean, maybe it's just the idea that there's just a lot of CG in this, and it does, have a few funny moments that if you're a fan of the first one, you would understand, where that came from or whatever. But as a whole, it just seemed like just a big, crazy CG type movie. And as far as that goes, it's fine. Nothing too spectacular. I would probably say if you're a fan of the first one, you'll want to watch it, but, you may not like it that much. The next one to talk about is Cop Out. This movie is kind of like the first Kevin Smith movie that it is not his material. Him directing somebody else's writing. And honestly, it's pretty funny. I probably wouldn't have picked this up if it wasn't for Kevin Smith's name being put on it. But Bruce Willis is really funny, and Tracy Morgan's really good. So this is actually funnier than I expected it to be. I went in with low expectations, so that may make a difference, but pretty good. The next one we'll talk about is Kick-Ass. And I think that probably everybody's talked about Kick-Ass at this point, so there's not much anybody could say that you haven't heard already. But if you haven't seen this movie yet, give it a shot. Just to let you know, though, this isn't like a comedy spoof of comic book heroes. This itself is based off a comic book also, and it's more of an ultra realism. But it's got a funny spin to it, but a lot of people go into this expecting it to be a comedy. Now I'm going to talk about some of the DVDs I got. Here's an import DVD I got. This is Region 2, and this is the 80s cartoon series in Humanoids. And as much as I haven't really seen this, I'm kind of excited to see it because I want to watch it all the way through. The US series is in like 2 or 3 installments, and I don't think they ever finished out the series. I think there's only like 12 or 13 episodes in the entire series, and like a 3rd volume never was released. So once I heard that, and the US ones are pretty much out of print at this point too. So I decided to pick up the UK version so I could see the whole thing. But that's just kind of a nostalgic 80s series. And then going on that note, I also picked up G.I. Joe, the movie. As a kid, I kind of vaguely remember this coming out on video and being excited about it, and then at the same time being kind of confused because it wasn't as good as I hoped it was. But it's still G.I. Joe. You know what I mean? Like I still have all that stuff like that because I was a fan as a kid. So yeah, I'll go back and watch it again. I haven't seen it in years. I probably hadn't seen it in about 10 or 15 years. This is something else I picked up. I was always a fan of the 1990s Batman animated series, which I think is really well done. This is Batman Under the Red Hood, which is based off the comic, and as far as I can tell, it's actually really close to that. They did a pretty good job. It also has an exclusive short, the Jonah Hex. That actually was pretty good too, but I was actually really impressed with how well they did this. As far as the DC Universe movies, like the I think it's called Warner Premiere series, this is one of the best. I think these are getting better. I'm not a humongous fan of the Marvel, equivalent of these, the Marvel animated series, whatever they're putting out, those movies. I don't think those are getting necessarily better, but these DC ones seem to be getting better. I really like that Batman. The next one is Brooklyn Finest. And I actually really like this movie. If you're into crime dramas, like the realism, the director of this, Antoine, I can't pronounce his last name, I'm not even going to try. He did Training Day, and Training Day to me is an excellent, excellent movie. For the 2000s, it's one of my favorites, as far as, just crime drama, or however you want to put it. He comes back to do this movie after doing several movies that were kind of unrelated, not specific to that genre, and this is actually kind of like back to his roots, and I really like this. I don't think it's as good as Training Day, but I think it's excellent. Everybody that's in there plays a really good part. I just don't think the story is quite as good as the Training Day story. The next one I want to show you, this is an older one. This has been out for maybe 3 years, 2 years, something like that. I think it came out like on video in 2007 maybe. It's called Perfume, the story of a murderer. This is a crazy movie. I would say that it's probably not for everybody because it's not like a horror movie, and it's got some weird moments. It's got like that aspect that starts to make you think that it is a horror movie, but it never quite goes there. It's just a weird movie. It's a lot of grossness to it, a lot of realism, but it's more than anything just really strange. Alan Rickman's in it, and Dustin Hoffman, and those are the two big names on this. But I would say if you want to just see an interesting movie, put this in your Netflix queue. It's different. The next movie we'll talk about is Chloe. And this is one of those movies that everybody really hadn't heard about until right before it came out on video. And then they went through this big influx of promoting this on everything. There's a lot of DVDs that came out right before Chloe that had the trailer for this movie on it. And even though I don't really remember it being on anything, before this, I don't even remember anybody talking about this movie. But it's got a really good cast. Liam Neeson and Julianne Moore play the husband and wife, and then she plays the kind of this psychotic lady that interferes in their life. This is actually pretty good. I don't know if it's a great movie. It's just kind of strangely predictable in a way, and then kind of the ending's not that great. But I'll just say it's definitely worth watching. There's a lot of interesting stuff that happens in that, but it's just a straight, suspense thriller, not a horror movie. This is another one. I don't know if you'll be able to pick this up. This is the lenticular cover of the new release of Piranha, which is the original. This movie here, I remember vaguely watching this as a kid. We would rent this, my cousins and I would rent Piranha and Piranha 2, The Spawning. And I don't know. I haven't watched this yet. I just got this not too long ago, and I'm kind of excited to see, what it is. Because I think this is probably, one of those really low-budget movies that may come off as funny. And it's just weird to think that this is kind of a movie that's being remade now, out of all the strange stuff. But, Roger Corman Cult Classics Collection is what they put this in. And, if you're familiar with his stuff, then you'll kind of have an idea what kind of movie that's going to be. Here's another one I just barely hadn't got a chance to watch yet, and it's Rec 2. I had the Region 2 version of Rec 1 because I wanted to watch it early, and then Rec 2, it's kind of weird like that. They have a non-region European version, and they have a non-region Asian version, but there's not a U.S. print at all. It's very, very strange. But I picked this up off of eBay. Fairly cheap, like $12, $13, something like that. I haven't watched it yet, but I'm eager to see that. I thought Rec was pretty good, or RAC, however you want to call it. Got two more here, and these are kind of interesting. I picked these up as Canadian releases, so they're still Region 1, but a little bit different. And I'm going to show them to you both together. I've got the Steelbook for both of the Grindhouse movies, the Death Proof and Planet Terror. The only thing I can tell that's really different from the U.S. version is that the U.S. version did have possibly a third disc. There was an exclusive that had a third disc. I'll try not to get the glare. I can kind of see it on the flare on the lens every once in a while. But it has 2 discs, and there is some French writing on a couple of them. But for the price, I was really excited to get these. The other one, is very similar. It's almost identical, like the layout and everything. No insert. But there is a version that came out in the U.S. that was Steelbook that had a third disc. These do not have that. These are just the 2 discs. But you can get these, I think I got mine from iNet Video, and I ordered them on Amazon from iNet Video. And they're roughly about $12 each, somewhere in there. $12, $13 plus shipping, of course, so about $15. Not bad for Steelbooks because I really didn't get much out of the Blu-rays of either one of these, and I think it's because the movies were shot in a way that they were supposed to not look crisp. They kind of had that old, grainy look to them that just kind of came out weird in Blu-ray. So I think they didn't really benefit much from the Blu-ray standard unless you just really wanted to see the dirt flecks, in the clear view of 1080p or something. I don't know, but I just thought these were really cool covers, and I was going to get these instead of the Blu-rays. That's pretty much all the update I have now. I haven't got that much, but I'm going to end the video here, and I'll say that the next video that you'll see could be before or after this is the contest video, so make sure you check that out.